with your host, Leslie Renee. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
What's up, everybody? What's good? This is your girl, Leslie Renee, and I just want to thank you. Thank you guys all for being here. And I am excited about uh, tonight's topic because of the atmosphere that we live in. We just need to sit down and have a conversation, okay? Um, no music guests on tonight, and I have missed you guys. I have been gone for the entire month of July. And so, what I want you guys to do, let me get all this stuff up, pulled up. I want you to share this video, and I'm going to bring on one of my friends because I decided that tonight I was going to have a happy hour, and we are going to talk about some things, and we're going to unpack some things because um, I see a lot of my friends. Hold on a minute. See a lot of my friends posting opinions and different things on their pages pertaining to Black Lives Matter and um, All Lives Matter and the environment that we are in. It's your page. You are free to do and say whatever you like. I do not interject my opinion on your page. I love you guys. I really, really do. We can agree to disagree and keep it moving. But racism is just not one of those topics that we are going to be able to disagree on. So for happy hour tonight, I put one of my girlfriends on. She is a model. She is a blogger, and we actually used to be co-workers. And so I'm wearing this T-shirt here from Wilmington, North Carolina. I know it's a little old and tattered, whatever. Don't come for me. Wilmington, North Carolina. I want to give a shout out to all my friends who still live in the port city. But I'm going to bring my homegirl on. Everybody, put your hands together. Welcome, my friend and model and homegirl, Miss Novella Wilson.
Hi.
What's up, Novella? Oh yes.
Hey.
Hey. You came prepared to the party. How you doing?
I did. I got something a little bit harder than some wine, but it's all good.
I'm not mad at you. Listen, it's Sunday evening. We are preparing for this work week. Take a sip real quick.
Yes.
It's good to have you on. It's good to catch up with you.
Thank you for having me.
It has been some time. Let me give everybody a little backdrop on my girlfriend here. We used to work together.
Yes.
Years ago, we used to work for a doctor's office. I'm gonna leave that unnamed.
Stop, Leslie. Don't tell them that. We wasn't working. We was cutting up.
The entire we had a lot of fun in that office. I had a lot of fun in that office. I love the providers that were there. Rest in peace to Dr. Perry. I just
wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he passed away a couple of years ago. He was on my one of my pages, and I went to go, and I think his birthday popped up, and I went to go wish him happy birthday, and I saw this rest in peace. I was like, oh God, no, Dr. Perry is gone. Yeah. So Dr. Perry is gone. I heard Dr. Richardson is no longer working there. But this particular day, you and I, again, cutting up, we had fine Dr. Jones.
Yes, I remember
Yes,
that.
right. Fine Dr. Jones. And so Dr. Jones was so fine. All right, let me explain this here. Dr. Jones was so fine
Yeah, he was
that
pretty.
when he would come through, like our female patientship just said bloop, it went all the way up. Like
Yes.
I used to open up the office and the women would be in their cars waiting, and then like he would get out the car and the songs would just start, the birds would chirp, the song started singing, why do birds? So I was like, and and I'm not, don't be mad at me. I love my coffee black, but Dr. Jones made you do one of these numbers. Like, oh my God,
I like my coffee black sometimes, but I take some cream sometimes too. So I ain't particular.
but Dr. Jones make you want to go ahead and get you a cup of milk or something, because he was gorgeous.
Yes, he was nice, very nice.
Yeah, and so all the women would be piled up in there, and so me as the scheduler, he it was a general practice, like kind of like an urgent care thing, would always tell me, do not schedule me for any pap smears. And so
Yep.
he hated that. He hated that. And that particular day, you did the prank of all pranks. Oh my God.
I did. I set him up for that one.
Oh my gosh. You did the prank of all pranks.
Pictures of his facial expression. Yes.
I still have a picture of that. I'll share that with you. I still have that picture somewhere.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, you set that room up with like double speculums and
I sure did.
pounds and everything. And the lady that was in the lobby looked like she was about 500 pounds. And he came out there and he was just like, I said, Dr. Jones, you have pap smear. And it was right before lunch too. And he was just like, I told you, I don't want to do. And I said, well, I'm sorry. The boss said that you got to do it. And he was like, fine. And he was like, who? And I pointed him out to the lobby. And when he saw that Burger King Whopper out there, oh my gosh, he lost it. Oh, he cursed me out. And when he walked in that room and I gave him the chart and you were standing in the room and you was like, gotcha. Oh my God, that was his face was red. That was a classic prank. So we cut up a lot. I missed you guys when I first got the text. I really enjoyed that job. So tell everybody who you are. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Novella, and I currently live in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. So if you don't know anything about North Carolina, I live on one of the only 2 barrier islands in all of the U.S. So if you could picture where the hurricanes come from, I could pretty much stand right on the beach and wave at them. So, I guess if there was no water, I could see Africa, I guess. But anyway, I've modeled, actually started a modeling agency, or started working primarily with kids years ago. A lot of kids actually came from domestic violence and rape crisis, and it was just my way to boost their self-esteem and to try to get them into a more positive mode about themselves. We welcome a lot of obese girls, because in today's society, well, not so much, but a couple of years ago, if you were obese, that was always a bad thing. So, shout out to the girls, the women who are BBWs, because they making it sexy, and I love the whole no body shaming, because this is what girls, need in their lives, it's not about that outward appearance. It's about what's inside in the beginning, that's what it is. And now I have a company called Grid Kids. One of my DBAs is Grid Kid Parties. So we do all inclusive birthday parties, anything and everything for kids. And our motto is, we do all the work, you have all the fun. So we do little girl spa days, cartoon characters, mascots, the whole 9. All the parents have to do basically is go online. They pick a package for, whatever the theme is for their kid's birthday party. three different packages. If they want Baby Shark attends that party, but we do everything from the setup to the cleanup. All they have to do is the kids come in. And of course, because of COVID right now, we can't rock and roll. This Wednesday coming up, we'll now free school supplies to kids, book bag, crayons, markers, notebooks, that type of things. It's just my way to give back because a lot of, I hate the position that the kids are in. And as soon as we open, I think our first event is going to be a huge Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory party for the kids. And then, followed by LOL glitter, glam, and sip party for the girls. But we do everything for the kids. So you name it, we do it. And we're here for it. My thing, our kids are the next generation. When I say our kids, I don't just mean Black kids. I mean our kids, so we have to pull them in and we have to teach them, and we need to see more laughing. This is where it is, so yeah.
I'm excited about that. So it is unfortunate that COVID has you shut down right now, but when things open up, and I just pray that you get back up and running, because that's definitely a business that we can all use, and that it's a Black-owned business, and so we'll have all those links and all that information, and have your information added to the Black-owned business database, so that people will know in North Carolina how to get to you. So again, like I said, I started off this video with Black Lives Matter. I obviously always have, always will. I'm rocking this shirt, Be Bold, out of Wilmington, North Carolina, because a lot of people don't know what happened in Wilmington, North Carolina back in 1898. So just to give a little brief history about it, I didn't even know when I moved to North Carolina. My parents and everybody, we lived more inland, like toward the Wallace, up I-40. But in case you guys don't know, you guys are just watching, and you can Google this. This is all public information. Back on November 10th, back in 1898, this is right after slavery, they had something called the Wilmington Massacre. And basically that came out of white resentment. The slaves who were newly freed pretty much knew how to do everything, because they had been doing it for 400 years for free. So they back then Wilmington was predominantly Black, and it was progressing. It was like, a lot of Black people had their own businesses, and it was flourishing. And they also had a lot of Black people who were running for office. And so once Black people started running for office and holding those seats, of course, trying to get better things to happen for the African American community, again, here we go, white resentment. An angry mob went in there and started burning everything down. The history books kind of whitewash it and make it seem like it was a riot, but it wasn't a riot. It was a massacre. They made it seem like the Blacks were attacking white people, but it was actually the other way around. They burned down, and they burnt down the newspaper, because they didn't want people to get that information on how to get out there and vote. And so to this day, if you guys are in the Wilmington area, they have that marker is right down there on Market Street and 3rd. I believe that intersection is right down there. You guys can go down there, and then you can Google it. You can learn that information about your city and your town. And I didn't know, back when I was living down there, I joined a theater group, and I'm so proud to be part of this heritage, to be the first African American play to ever grace the stage at Thalian Hall. Thalian Hall been down there for hundreds of years. Never had a Black play until we did Crowns. And so that tripped me out, because I'm from New York. It's just like, Broadway, we had some of everything. So to just be here, and that was the first time y'all ever did a Black production, really? That's welcome to the 21st century. But anyway, that is Wilmington, North Carolina. And today in Dallas, the church that I showed, Black Lives Matter, a little clip that I showed in the beginning, that's my church, Friendship West over in Oak Cliff. My pastor is Pastor Freddie Haynes III. And anybody who's listening, even nationwide, worldwide, y'all know who Pastor Freddie Haynes is. He do not play. He is our modern day Dr. King, Jesse Jackson, and Al Sharpton all rolled up in one. Well, today, Novella, on the news, they somebody booked the church parking lot, because the church is closed now. They booked the church parking lot to sponsor a They said it was a Black Lives Matter kind of meet and greet and come out and have a meeting and talk about stuff. Turns out that it was Blue Lives Matter. They showed up, and Trump supporters showed up, Confederate flags, all on this historically Black church in Oak Cliff, Texas. Now, anybody who know anything, you're from Dallas, Texas, y'all know Oak Cliff is Oak. It don't get no blacker than Oak Cliff. So the disrespect was at a level that was like up here. You know, Pastor Haynes found out about it, and you know they was trying to catch him on a hot mic and get him to say some things, really to get him to act out of character. But I mean, why do you think people will go through? I mean, people really got a lot of time on their hands right about now to plan a protest for Black Lives Matter and then flip it into a Blue Lives Matter and then bring all this Trump paraphernalia to a black church.
Well, we're getting really close to election as well. I think just before I came on, just before I logged on, I saw where I believe it's Dallas, where it's either Dallas or Austin, where they've painted Blue Lives Matter on the ground the same way they've been painting. No, I'm sorry. I take that back, Dallas. I'm sorry. It's Florida, Tampa, Florida. They have painted Blue Lives Matter on the ground much in the same way that the Black Lives Matter is being painted in front of Trump's hotel or in other cities. And so I don't know who made that call, but I think that's the worst thing they can do, because what it does is it pits the movement Black Lives Matter against the police officers.
Exactly.
And that's not a way to bridge the gap. Exactly. You know, it's causing more diversity. And, you know, no one can convince me that the government could have done away with all of this a long time ago. But I'm convinced that the government loves chaos.
Well, look who's in charge. I mean, look who's in charge. So, I mean, you know, things come from the top. It's like, you know, the brain controls the rest of the body. It's coming straight from the top, and he has minions. And so.
But even before him, a lot of things could have been ended a long time ago. But with him, I think because he's that lighter fluid, because he says whatever he wants to say, people feel like, oh, it's okay to follow the lead because my president did it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And it like I said, it's creating more diversity because, and as far as the BLM organization, it has been hijacked, you know. So as soon as you say BLM, people take automatic defense, you know, against it. And,
mm-hmm.
you know, and I will have to say this, there are Black people who have used BLM, the organization, the name BLM, to create chaos themselves because they're angry. And that's not good for the cause, for what it originally is supposed to stand for. But when you start pitting the police against BLM, you're not fighting racism like that.
Also, to let me interject right there, a lot of times when people were having those protests and they were marching, it was not the rioters, it was outside antagonizers that were showing up to cause trouble. Right. And, you know, dressed in all black, you know, they done busted a white lady down. The one that burnt down the Wendy's, that was a white lady.
White lady. Right.
Yeah. So there are looters out there. I mean, people are opportunists. Don't get it twisted. But again, Black people weren't the only ones out there, you know.
No, they definitely weren't. They definitely weren't. And you know, and we saw that, and thank God some people were able to catch a lot of those on video to shed light, like, hey, we're not the bad guy in this. Understand this. You know, but when you talk about writing a whole city block near a town hall or a courthouse or just on the street, you have to have a permit for that. That's not something I can do or you can do. We'd have to have a permit to go right on that street out there, or we're gonna end up charged. You know, that's destruction of property. You know, so that is not something that, it's just like where I live at. There's been a movement here to try to take down. Now, let me give y'all a little bit of history on where I live at. Being in this county, which is called Carteret County, like I said, I live on the beach. it is less than 4%. The total population, the demographics are about 67,000 people. It's a tourist area. So off season, it's about 67,000 people. On season,
Okay.
during season or whatever, you know, of course, being as house the beach is going to go up.
Mm-hmm.
We are less than 4% Black people here in Carteret County and 7% minorities overall. There was 2 petitions started for some odd reason to remove the Confederate statue, which sits on the Carteret County Courthouse, you know, lawn. And it does place Parvis Church, which is a Black church that dated back from 1824, I believe. So it was dedicated and put up in 1926 during the Jim Crow era. So the petitions that started, like I said, there were 2 of them, which, you know, maybe people didn't realize there were 2 of them. While we were having a town meeting with all of the chief of police and Black officials here, well, when you say Black officials, I mean people that are sit on the town board. While there's a meeting, there is another meeting going on secretly that nobody was talking about and had talked about, where they called a meeting to their agenda. Wasn't even an agenda. They wanted to talk about keeping the statute, and because everybody was focused over here, and because they didn't put it on they didn't say, hey, this meeting was going on. They did it behind. They sent emails to the people they wanted to be there, which of course were all white officials. Guess what? It went unopposed. There was not a Black person there. There was not a white person that fights against the racism and keeping that Confederate statute. There was not a single person there to oppose it. So now they've decided they're going to build some type of wall around it. And that's what we have to fight against. Now, mind you, this area, Beaufort, North Carolina, which is where Blackbeard Ship is and a lot of historical things. There's a movie out called, I believe it's The Green Book. It's based on it's a Black movie. They talk about the hotel where Black slaves, Beaufort, North Carolina was a big area for Blacks to hide at during the Underground Railroad.
Okay.
So, of course, now the Blacks that have, and this is, when I say this is a soft spot, there's a lot of softs because of, I believe it's got to do with the fact that there's only 4% Blacks here, 7% minorities, that a lot of Blacks that are here don't like to talk about racial issues because it's like, it's not like New York. It's not like Philadelphia where I'm from. They basically have that hush hush, like, I have to live here, you don't, you know, so they're scared. They really don't want to say or do too much that's going to jeopardize their jobs, their homes. And it's really sad to see that. Most of the people, I will say that probably 90% of the people that come to the meeting on racial issues are all Northerners. We're all loud. We're all boisterous. We're not all Black. It's very diverse. It's like being home. It's like being in Philly. You know, it's very diverse, and it is what it is. We don't like what we're seeing here, but you know, they hide a lot of stuff from the people here. They don't want bad blood here. You know, of course, Michael Jordan just came for the seafood or for the Big Rock, and of course, all the white people were out there screaming his name. And it's like, do you not realize that he's a Black life? Black Lives Matter. You know, they're not trying to. They're not. And Michael Jordan is from Wilmington, North Carolina.
Yeah.
You know, but they're not trying to hear any of that. So there's a huge battle that's going on here right now. And I've been pulled in a couple of different groups to try to do something because I am very boisterous here. And the way to win is not going directly at them and making them feel like our intentions are to tear down this statue. We have Fort Macon here on the beach. And it's one of the last forts when the Union came in and won, where there were over 400 Confederate soldiers here at the fort. When the Union came through, they surrounded the fort. And of course, with the help of some boats that were offshore, they won and they took over. You know, long story short, the Union won, Confederates lost, let the statue go. Bring it over to Fort Macon and put it in a historical area so that if people, even like myself, want to go see that part of history, I can do that. When you leave a county courthouse property, what are you saying to your Black constituents? that we don't matter, that we just going to keep seeing this piece of statute that's there that was put up during the Jim Crow era, and literally looking at the Black church, because all of that is hugely symbolic across our country. When you look at the statutes and where they were placed there for a reason. And when you look at it, most of them were placed so that they do face the Black churches. They face them because they're saying, hey, I'm superior over you, and now we're saying, no, not so much,
My take, let me jump in there. My take on that is, I don't know. I understand the statues have meaning to them and all that whatnot. I really could care less about the statues. I don't care if they stay there or if they burn. I get more offended when I see the flags flying over different places. Because people have flags, they're wearing the flag, they got bandanas, they got them on their cars. The ones who trying to be low key with it, they got it. I've even had to have some neighbors that you come out and smile with you, then they flip their garage door open and you're like, oh, so you got the whole wall in there is a Confederate flag. Yeah. And so it's just like, really?
Yeah, I'm not so bothered by the flags though. And I think that's because people don't know the history of those flags, and I get it, I do. But I've spoken to some Black people from the South who they fly the flags. It's like when we change words from generation to generation, one word means this during this generation and the next generation makes it something else.
Mm-hmm.
And so as you look at some of these younger kids, they lose sight or don't know the history behind it. So some of them truly do think that it has nothing to do with anything other than their Southern heritage. And I say that our Black kids are just as guilty as the white kids. A lot of them don't know their history. So they take it and they embrace their heritage, without understanding the true meaning that goes behind it. And a lot of them are being schooled because of the BLM and because of what has been going on. And I think it's great. I think there needs to be more education, both between whites and Blacks, on Black history, which is why I kind of fault the government, because what you said it earlier when you were talking about Wilmington, a lot of it's been whitewashed. It's either been whitewashed or omitted. And I've said this time and time again at some of the town hall meetings. Hypothetically, if we were to go in there and just wipe out the history books that we have, because when I was in school, we had I took American history. I took American literature. I took French literature. We did not have a Black history class.
Nothing. You had no type of Black. You got February. And in February, you learned the Lift Every Voice and Sing. And you learned about Dr. King. And
we didn't have February, though, when I was in school. We didn't have February. Wasn't even a thing at that particular time. So.
Well, no, it wasn't in school. It was more or less of things like programs that they had at the church or community stuff going on. But no, it wasn't in church. It wasn't in school. And so again, I think until the United States decides to, first of all, they haven't apologized. They haven't apologized for the stain of slavery. They have not. They just, they just kept it moving until the government say, okay, listen, this is an atrocity that was done by the United States government. And they just found a way to pull $3 trillion out their butt for a stimulus package. They could have found $3 trillion to give every person of African American descent
reparations,
something, something, because the level of wealth, is just not even. And so, if they gave every African American $100,000, well, a lot of people would come up. A lot of people would come up. A lot of people would at least be able to afford a house, or do something with $100,000. But until the government decides that they want to apologize, they're going to continue to give their version of history, story, their story, not our story. And the few little tidbits that you do get, they have glamorized it to the point of, you got Kanye West and Uncle Ben talking about, wait a minute, wait, let me take a sip, wait, Kanye, wait.
Let me tell that's about right. Bless his
Kanye
heart.
said that slavery was a choice.
Right.
And Uncle Ben Carson said that the slaves were immigrants. I know, right?
And you know what? I have his books. And so when I go past my bookcase, I can't even pick them up. All I can do is just shake my head. He has heard Kanye always knew he had issues, but Ben, he
He
has
just
hurt.
should have stuck being a doctor. Come on, man. You done went to medical school. You just should have stayed in your lane. Stay in your lane of expertise and
He
help
should have
Dr.
stayed.
Fauci.
Yeah, he should have stayed in his lane. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, no one pays attention to what either one of them say. Is completely irrelevant. But the point of me trying to do this live is I just want to bring awareness to not what's already out there, because we watch the news, we turn it on every day just to get people to talk about voting. There's
Yes.
a lot of people still not voting, and so listen. All I got is, if y'all want 4 more years of Trump division, strife, um, I'm quite sure some other countries working on some type of SARS or something else to send over here because we didn't have control of coronavirus.
You know they've got the blue bonnet. You know that they'll have that next, but they have the blue bonnet. They'll have the blue bonnet plague coming, but they have the bubonic plague. China has that brewing right now. You know, they've got the pig swine thing going on again now. But but meanwhile, we got people wanting to put chips in us. You know, so people need to wake up and understand that you know, and this is what I'm hearing from a lot of young kids. They're not sure who to vote for because they haven't researched anybody. You know, they see that Bernie's not there anymore. They're looking at the two that are left. You've got Democrats who are still bad mouthing and downing the person that they're going to be voting for, which just shut up. If you're going to vote, shut up. Why are you talking him down? Because that is making the people who are uncertain certain that they don't want to vote.
And every vote that they don't cast is a vote for Trump.
Right.
So this
Right.
is
Exactly.
just the stuff that we're trying to get out there. Those of us who have a platform to speak on it and to get these young people out. Listen, we know, all right, millennials, don't y'all come for me, but y'all really don't be doing a whole lot of research and reading. And I welcome a millennial to come on the platform and have this conversation with me or Novella. Let's have this conversation. Let's figure out why young people
and then you have the libertarian Jo Jorgensen, I think her name is. She's not an independent, she's a libertarian. Yeah, I had to take a sip on that one. Yeah. So, and I've read her stuff and I just cannot get behind what she's.
It's like you got Biden and you got Trump. You gotta pick. It's like what back in the day, what cartoon was it? Was it when the Christmas thing up, you got the heat miser and the freeze miser. You got two evil people. You got two evils. Pick the lesser of two evils. Pick one.
And I think what's going on is a lot of people are also letting a lot of the conspiracy theories soak in. And it's like, come on, people, stop with the conspiracy theories. We had the Wayfair, the kids in the drawers, whatever going on, hoax, and so being this house, and I remember back in the day when we would vote. Do you remember there was a time when people didn't know who you were voting for? It was safe. You didn't tell people who your party was. It wasn't nobody's business but your own.
Right.
Now it seems like that is all people care about.
Yeah.
I tend to trick people up though, because I'll get into conversations with people and they'll say, you damn liberals, blah blah blah, and I'll look at them and say, how do you know I'm a liberal? What's liberal about me? My melanin skin, is that the liberal? Is that liberal? Is that is that where we're going with this? Then I have to break it down and tell them I'm a registered Republican. So pump your brakes.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was 18, the first time I started to vote, I was always taught to vote, listen to what they were saying, and to vote for who was as close to my ideas as I could get.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember who my first president was that I voted for, but he was Republican. And I think because I was brought up in the church, they didn't believe in abortion. They didn't believe in, gay marriages. They didn't believe, that was old school. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is how it was. So I don't care if anybody comes for me, but that's how it was. You had to put on your stockings, your slips, those hot behind slips and them hot behind stockings. And
Yes,
half the time you had to run in the back, and the old women in the church would be, honey, why you got them stockings on? You got to run in your stockings, But
mm-hmm.
this is how it was. And so I did not vote Democrat because my grandmother's grandmother voted that way. I voted because I listened to whoever that presidential candidate was talk about abortions and say it's not right, blah, blah, blah. So I voted. And over the years, I've learned that you cannot, in good conscience, say you are a right-wing conservative without agreeing to some of the things that a left-wing Democrat have said, and vice versa. You cannot say you're a straight left-wing Democrat and not agree with some of the things that a right-wing Republican brings up. So I tend to go down the middle. I don't think I've ever voted straight down.
Right.
Because even where I live at, there are some Republican judges that are on point. I love them. They are hard. They are fair. They are harder on white people than they are on black people. And I love that. And yes, I do watch them and I follow what they do, And so I feel like people need to start listening to these candidates. Now, Joe Biden, when they said he was going to run for president, I was all for it because, hey, I love me some Obama. Who didn't love Obama? Even the people who said screw Obama loved Obama. They just don't want to tell us that they really love. I bet you if Obama said I'm running, I bet you he'd come in with 100% across the board win. Hands down, he would be back in office if that could happen. But Joe Biden, when he first came back in, I couldn't understand what he was saying or what he stood for. And it was almost like, wow, was he that quiet when Obama was in office? I really don't remember hearing Joe Biden when Obama was in office. So
no, he didn't have a lot to say because pretty much, when Obama was in office, it didn't matter what Obama stood for and what he tried to do. They blocked him in the Senate and
remember before his
at the House of Representatives. A lot of things he couldn't get done.
Yes, remember before his inauguration, Matt McConnell said, "We're not helping you at all. I'm gonna do everything I can to stop you." So yeah, even before he was sworn in as president, he got twisted, But so I'm listening to Joe and I'm trying to, figure him out, because I do still want to hear him. But then I start seeing people say, "Oh, he's doing this. He's sniffing hair. He's touching." Okay, look at how old he is. I think about the medical field. I think about the older doctors. I think about the older paramedics. Their first thing that particular age group do is they do touch. They learn to touch. People have come away from touching, and I'm not saying touching in a sexual way, but it's like, okay, because he touched a girl on her shoulders, that makes him a pedophile?
The society that we live in has gotten everything so twisted and so backwards that they have made what is right, they've made it what's wrong, and what's wrong, they have made it right.
And did the Bible not talk about that?
Yeah, you can't even, fathers can't even really like hug their daughters or have their daughter sit in their lap or take a bath with their daughter. But even if the baby is an infant and the daddy's like, "Let me get a baby a bath while I'm in here," and they post a picture online, they're like, "Oh, you're pedophile."
Right.
It's too much going on. So yeah, he's from a different generation where he's possibly out of touch with what is politically correct, what you can do, what you can't do. But look who he is up against.
Now, you know what? On that one, he's up against a man that came out wrong with grabbing him by the stuff, Then he not only that, but I followed this myself. For those who don't know, Donald Trump was named as a co-defendant in with Epstein for raping a 13-year-old immigrant who used to work for either one of them. That original paperwork was filed in the state of California. Prior to the election, the paperwork got lost. Epstein pled guilty in that case. And do you know they refiled that paperwork in the state of New York, where you can go find it because it's a matter of public record? By the time that they pulled it out, he was already sworn in as president, and you can't you can't sue a sitting president. So I want to know
why he wants to stay in office, because he know the minute that he's no longer president, the state of New York
is going to go.
They're going to indict him on so many different charges, and he's already impeached. So he's doing his best. He probably got a contingency plan in place now that, okay, now after my second term, I'm gonna leave the country. They're gonna buy him an island somewhere, and he'll be able to make his escape, because they're gonna lock him up. But everything that they said that about Hillary, lock her up, emails, everything, she's still walking around free as a jaybird. But this fool did everything that they accused him of. And I didn't want to take this conversation and get it put on Trump, because we'll be here
all night messing with him. Yeah.
I'm sorry. When I say Trump, I gotta take a sip to get the taste out my mouth.
I can't even stand to watch him. I can't. It just I'm so, and it's not just him. I think he makes me realize the stupidity in this country. And I have friends who are Trump supporters, and we've gotten into conversations about that, and they don't think he's God, but they think he is the next best slice of bread. And I try to understand their reasoning behind their thinking. And they talk about the economy, and I'm like, come on, dude, like, he came in running under Obama's, uphill. You can't do that. Where do you think this country would be at if Trump would have taken this country at the exact time when Obama took the country back in 2008 after the market crash? Where would we be with Trump? Would he have been able
the same place with the rest of his businesses that he done ran in the ground and filed bankruptcy and everything else?
We'd be doing like my grandmother, who was one of the ones that were, lived through the Deep Depression. You know what I'm saying? I'd be rolling up aluminum foil balls and twisting and putting, this is why I clip coupons to this day. My grandmother lived in that era during the Deep Depression. And so that's someplace I hope this country never goes. And I think when I get scared, that's what honest to God, I feel like if he is in there 2 terms in a row, I feel like that's where we're going to be. I feel like we're going to be in a deep depression, because these stimulus checks, who's paying for this later?
We are. They're going to find a way to get it back. But meanwhile, you got Bezos and all the other billionaires who are tax-free. Right. So while the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. How Billie Holiday said, "God bless the child has got its own." Save your money, buy stocks, bonds, figure out how to get through this whole catastrophe right now. But at the end of the day, the purpose of this live was for us to discuss voting rights, voter suppression, Black Lives Matter. Please get out there and vote. Do your research.
Yes, please don't let COVID scare you. If you can go to Walmart, Target, if you can go to a bowling alley, if you can go anywhere with a mask on, you can go to those polls and you can slap that mask on, and it ain't going to take you that long. Give them your name, your address, whatever they ask for. Get in that booth, spray it down, wipe it down with some Lysol, your hand sanitizer. You got it, but you got to get out there and you got to vote. We have to stop this before it gets worse, because it's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any better.
4 more years of Trump. I didn't want to go on a record and say, okay, I probably was going to move to Canada for 4 years, and I'll be back at the end of 4 years, because I don't know what to say. Anyway, tell us what you got coming up outside of, how do people get in touch with you if they want to book your business?
We can be found at Grid, GRID, Grid Kid Parties. .com. We have a full website. It'll show you the different parties that we do. Some of the characters are not up there, but we kind of go with the flow. We didn't have what was the Alice in Wonderland, the dude in Alice in Wonderland, and it was something that we didn't have, but we got it, so we'll do whatever needs to be done. But grid kid parties and trying to get out of 2020. I told you I'll be in Dallas this weekend. One of my sons is getting married.
Yes. Yes.
So I'll be in Dallas, and then we'll come back. I've got so hopefully, we're preparing for the grand opening. At least hopefully we'll be in stage 3. So I'll be able to have the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory party for the kids, and then the LOL dolls for the girls for the next party or whatever. So we do events. We were supposed to do the very first annual North Carolina Kidchella, not to be confused with Coachella for the kids, but of course COVID shut us down. If you guys don't know about the North Carolina Seafood Festival that is here, it is at the first weekend of October.
Isn't that down in? They used to have it in Sneed's Ferry.
No, there's only one North Carolina Seafood Festival, and it literally draws in over 350,000 people that weekend. One weekend, they come to the Morehead City waterfront. Any and every kind of seafood you could have is there. So they also have a website. I'm not sure if they're going to do it this year. I saw one time where they said they were going to do a virtual seafood festival. Don't know how that's going to go because I had some red snappers.
Girl, bye. How y'all gonna do
a virtual seafood festival? I don't know how that's going to work. But it is one of the biggest events here in North Carolina. And before that, they have the North Carolina Big Rock, which is the biggest. It's a national. They boat the big boats go out and they try to win a $3 million purse. And like I said, Michael Jordan was here for that. This last one, I did not know he was an avid fisher, but he had his. He didn't win. He don't need no more money.
No, he good.
Yeah, he did take the time to speak to my granddaughter, though. I thought that was really nice. He spoke to some of the locals. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, we wanted to put ours kind of in the middle of both events because, of course, being that it says North Carolina Kidchella, it is an outdoor music festival for kids. Like I said, anything and everything for kids is what we do. And I love kids. I have 11 grandkids, one on the way, which will make it 12. So I love them.
You do not look old enough to have 12 grandkids. Yeah. Come on, yeah. Melanin. Come through. Come through.
Yeah. And I'm loving it. I mean, I'm loving it. I can love them up. I can keep them for a couple of days, and then I can say, hey, come get your babies. You got to go. So I'm enjoying all of life with that. And so, like I said, I just hope COVID will go on about it. I'm one of those believers that think after this election, it's going to dip out. It's going to definitely dip way lower than where it is right now. So, we're just waiting for that. Prior to COVID though, and I still have a 6-foot leprechaun at my office. I don't know what to do with his big green butt right now. Cause when we were getting ready to do a huge St. Patrick's Day party for the kids.
And that's when it happened. Yep.
And that's when it happened. And I know every time I go in the office, I see his green behind standing up in there. And I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do with you? I'm going to have to do something with you because I can't do that with you.
So we had to be like, shut up, mind your business. Mind your business.
So, and I've got all the Easter stuff still there. So, I'm just going to have to store it until ready for next year, So, but I'm still excited about everything. I've had people trying to book, but I've turned them down. I've had to refund money to say, I mean, I even went so far as to get certified in sanitation and disinfectant, barbicide, all the disinfectants. And if it were my kid, I'd wait at least until stage 3 or no stage at all.
Definitely. We would be way far past this if people would have just bunkered down and kept it locked until, he opened up Memorial Day and everybody's out there flossing at the beach. If they would have waited till at least after the 4th of July, we would be in a better place. So
we'd be in a better place, And unfortunately for me, I wasn't one of those persons that was able to catch a stimulus check. And the PPE, I can't even get the PPE. So, it's like, okay, here, I'm going to my savings. I'm running on fumes here, last year I did really, really good. And this year it's like, so I had some questions for the banks, and I think anybody who has their own business, one of the questions I had to ask my bank was, you know, if they're going to take like taxes from 19 and 20, or you're going to need taxes from 18 and 19 for any personal loans now, or bank, or business loans,
Well,
you know,
why?
because
So, all right, we'll talk about that later because I know they had the SBA out there, and so
SBA they don't have a lot of funds for people at this time. I did get a letter back and wasn't able to get anything because of where they were at. And then they do the extension, and you know, like my bank was like, they're not even taking applications anymore because SBA has a list of lenders for business owners. They have a list of lenders, and so each bank, like you might have to go through, I don't know how many banks to actually try to get something, and it's a it's a mound of paperwork. So
I
it's
know.
like, God. And every time you go through one of them, it's a hard hit on your credit. So people have to really watch and be, if you don't know anything about business, if you're just getting started, if you're new and upcoming business owners and you're trying to figure that out, whenever when you're messing with the SBA, please be wary and please keep an eye on your credit
Your credit
report.
score, yeah.
Every time you do something with trying to get a loan, even through the SBA, through one of their lenders, that you are taking a hard hit, and it will decline that. I mean, it will drop your credit scores, and then eventually what will happen is you'll get denied for your credit not being high enough, just because you're trying to make it during this COVID crisis, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, well, yeah, how they say you can't win if you lose. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. And
Yeah.
so I'll be in prayer for your endeavors, and we get ready to jump up off of here. I can't believe how quick our happy hour went, and it's almost we're almost up at an hour.
Yes.
But you're so beautiful and so gracious to come on and have this time with me. I got one little final sip. Hold on.
I know. My man don't know I just finished up every bit of what was there. So it's
He'll be
Sunday.
all right. The place it opened up tomorrow, so he'll
Yeah.
be okay. And so
But I'll
listen, guys.
yeah.
I want to thank Novella. I want to thank you, Novella, again for taking time to come on here and talk with your girl. We have to do this again soon. Again,
Absolutely.
definitely have happy hour and come up with some conversations. I think the next time we come together, we might do what was my topic? I said
Karen.
Karen. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Karen. We're gonna talk
Yeah.
about Karen, the
I was
Karen movement.
I was pretty excited about that because I see so many of them and I get so tickled. And
Woo.
what is it,
I was trying
Karen?
to wait so I can get us a T-shirt that said "I wish Karen would," and
Karen.
then.
They have Karens, Beckys, and Susans. It's an age thing apparently. So
Oh yeah. So all right. So let me do my homework on that, and then we'll have that for our next happy hour. I might bring one more girlfriend on with me, and so we'll open up the demographics so that they won't feel like we're bashing them, and give them an opportunity to speak. But again, I want to thank you guys. Make sure you hit my website. It's scrolling at the bottom of the screen down there. If you feel like you want to donate, that's fine. That's awesome. I have some new artists coming on for the month of August. New artists. Again, I took off for the month of July because you guys know I was moving, but I'm settled. Send your music submissions, jazz artists. You guys know I'm usually here with you guys on Sunday nights. So make sure you send all of your jazz compositions. I got you. I promise I got you. In the meantime, I'm your girl, Leslie Renee. Again, it's my girl, Novella. Happy hour, divas. We had an awesome, amazing time. Novella, don't go nowhere. Stay there. I'm going to pull us out of the stream. And until the next time, you guys be blessed. And let me pull this little stuff up right here because I'm up here running my mouth and don't have nothing ready to go. Wine. 30 wine. Okay. All right. You guys hang tight. All right.
Bye.
Bye.